Alright, so what's going on, boys and girls? We're here with another reaction video. Now, this one is going to be entitled Part 2, Why Linux Sucks. I didn't watch Part 1, just an FYI. So my opinion is only going to be strictly on this video. So, like it or lump it. You guys know what to do. We're going to roll into it and see how well this particular, well, I'm hoping it's good at least, for the love of God.
Okay, so I'm back here again, and this is going to be a part 2 of problems with Linux. Originally, my first video was complaining about the Android phone not connecting to my computer, which I find excruciatingly frustrating because it seems like a very simple thing you would expect to happen with a operating system.
Now, I don't know which version of Android you're running, but in 9, because, and just an FYI, I do have mine attached to the computer. You have to enable USB debugging mode. And then once you get into debugging mode, you get this little thing at the very bottom because Android's weird now. Don't know if you guys will be able to see that. Probably not. But basically, you'll get the USB debugging thing, and then underneath it, it says USB file transfer or charging. You tap on that to tell it what you want it to do. But you have to enable developer options. That's an Android problem. That's not an OS problem. Now, whether or not it works automatically in Windows, that's a different story. But again, it's an Android problem. It's not the OS's problem. So that's kind of a bullshit point. I'm just going to say that because I'm seeing 100 gigs of my 128 on my desktop right now, and I'm accessing files and videos from that. So I'm calling bullshit. I think it's bad implementation by Android more than the OS. Is there ways that Linux distros could probably help make that easier? Probably. But at the end of the day, that's an OS on the phone portion problem, not the OS on the laptop or desktop problem. So I call a little bullshit on that.
Like this, hey, if you have an operating system, maybe you want to connect your phone to it. So I don't know who the developers are, what they're smoking, but it should be easy to connect an Android phone to your computer. And there could be various reasons why it's happening that is unrelated to Linux. In other words, maybe it's the computer that I installed it on. Right now I have it on an Asus. I don't know the model number offhand. But maybe it's because the Linux system is not running well on the Asus. Who knows? It's the computer and the Linux compatibility problem. I mean, the problem with Linux is that it's just very unstable depending on what computer you install it in. There's just so many issues.
There's so many issues. There's no more issues with Linux than there is any other operating system. It's just what you come to expect out of an operating system. How many people bitch and moan about Windows? How many people bitch and moan about Mac OS? Just as many people who try Linux bitch and moan about it and run back to what they know because they've accepted the flaws and the problems that they are used to with the priorly mentioned OSs. Linux is a foreign environment to most people. So they're not going to be as willing to accept flaws and bumps in the road. I'm not saying Linux works on every piece of hardware because it doesn't. And to say so would be naive. Now, you could be having a bad experience and this is your experience and I appreciate that. But I'm not seeing a lot of valid criticisms yet. I'm trying to be nice here for once without a lot of swearing and calling people dumbasses and etc. So I'm hoping that this is just let's just hope. I'm holding out a little hope for at least halfway intelligent video.
Right now I cannot connect either my Android phone to it or one of these to it. Okay, it does connect to a external hard drive, and it connects to other things to its credit. And put my
Now, as far as the micro SD card. That depends on the file format. exFAT is not installed by default on all distros. Some distros don't care. There's I think it's sudo apt install like exFAT fuse something or other along those lines. That has to be installed if you're running an Ubuntu distro. So that is a valid criticism, but that again depends on the OS. And the thing is, people view Linux distros as, oh, it's all the same. No, you have to view Linux as its own thing. Linux has 300 plus different operating systems. It just happens to have one similar base, some GNU tools, and some Linux as its kernel. Everything else around it and all the libraries and all the other shit that goes with it, it's a different story altogether. So again, I think it's kind of it's a moot point, but it's an understandable moot point. I'm still, you can't blame the distro for not shipping something based on patent issues or potential patent legal issues. I get it. Some distros just don't care, and that's okay too. But it's a valid criticism nonetheless. But, again, most of these are passion projects, shall we say.
I go over that for a minute. And it even connects to my iPad as far as transferring images and videos. Remarkably, that's a wonderful feat by Linux. But it will not connect to my Android phone. And it will not connect to that card that you saw there. And currently now I have another problem. And the problem is that I usually use this application. It's called WoeUSB to burn ISOs to a stick. Actually, here's one stick here and one stick there. They're both on my computer. Why do I have two sticks on my computer? Memory sticks on there? Because this application, all of a sudden out of nowhere, as you can see, it lets you select the ISO, okay? But it's not registering the target device whatsoever, okay? Now these are definitely mounted and connected to my computer because it's showing up on my desktop, but it is not showing.
Someone tells me this is a user error. Some applications, especially depending on that one, did you click the giant button that says fucking refresh? And sometimes if you open those kind of applications before the USBs are actually plugged in and mounted, they don't actually see them unless you close them and open them again. That's a problem with the application, not so much that it doesn't notice the event flag of, oh, hey, this got plugged in. And another thing is, my recommendation would be use Etcher. It's a better program. Just gonna say, hey, to each their own, but if you're looking for advice, there's a few things right there. So some of it could be user error and some of it could be just, well, quite frankly, the program.
Showing on WoeUSB, and that is worrying me because I've used WoeUSB over 10 times. I've installed multiple desktop operating systems on my computer. This is the go-to application I always go to, and it works without a problem. I've done this a lot of.
Just because it's your go-to doesn't mean you shouldn't be aware or know of other options. Again, that's a user problem, not so much a OS problem. So I'm putting that one on you. Just because you use it a lot doesn't mean you shouldn't look at other options or know of other options or ask for other options. That's, again, on you.
Over a lot of times, okay? Like I've used this application a lot on Linux and on different operating systems. I've never had a problem with WoeUSB on Linux. Now I do. It's not showing the devices. It's not showing it whatsoever. And I hit refresh. I tried everything. It's not working. So now I have a second problem with Linux, and it's this, okay? So right now I'm even more upset and frustrated because I want to go back to Windows 10, and now I got to go back to Google, type up, WoeUSB problems, how to fix, and then maybe I also have to type up another USB burning application other than WoeUSB this time to try to go back to Windows 10. Frustrating. Yes, so frustrating. Um, ugh. I'm telling you guys, if you're not tech savvy, if you're not someone who has a lot of patience, if you're someone who has better things to do than be fiddling with your computer, do not get Linux. I mean, I'm telling you. I'm not saying Linux is awful. Linux is a lot like Mac, actually. It's very smooth, simple.
I love this argument about if you just don't have if you value your time crap. This this argument I always find intriguing. If you try to fix shit on your own, you don't value your time. That is the default position on anything. So, to me, I value my money and my knowledge gained from fixing my own crap. That's the difference. Do you view it as a headache or do you view it as a learning experience? It all depends. If I view all my time spent as a learning experience on new stuff and stuff that I'm not knowledgeable in, you might get some value out of it. So then your time does become a good investment. There are other times, be it because you don't have a lot of time, that spending money is better to do than to spend time. So, again, these are all problems you could have posted on a forum or whatnot. Hey, this is what's happening. And somebody could have told you it's probably XFAT. Somebody could have told you that's an Android problem. Somebody could have recommended different applications, i.e. Etcher. Don't use UNet Booten. SUSE Image Writer. Use the ones that are built into the OS. USB Startup Creator. If you're using Ubuntu distros. It's a moot point. Again, I'm going to say what you accept on Windows. How much time do you spend fixing crap on Windows? And don't tell me you don't, because Windows has its own set of problems. We've just learned to accept it. Same with Mac. It's got its own set of problems. Users have just learned to accept the flaws. That's really what it boils down to.
It's got a lot of wonderful features, but these problems happen, okay? So now I got to figure out how to solve this problem. It's been like almost 3 to 4 hours since I've had the problem with the phone, installing the card, and now I'm having this issue. Now, before you start to say, in fact, I kind of mentioned it in this video, oh, it's the computer that you have it on. Listen, I was able to connect my phone and my and the card, the SD card. I was able to connect it before. Now I cannot. Why? An update or some other issue? Come on now. Why go to Linux if it's going to have just as many kinks and issues as Windows? Why? You know what I mean? At least in Windows I can type up a problem or call customer service or something. This, I'm pretty much screwed.
You can call customer service. If you want that experience, don't put it on a machine that it's not built for. I will never tell you you are going to get the same experience of support that you would for a phone number to call up and say, hey, this doesn't work, to an Asus, a Dell. Well, okay, Dell you will, but an Asus or Microsoft for support. Unless you specifically buy hardware that is supported, and you will get that experience. It is a novel concept. Those that go and venture on their own are going to find bumps along the way. Buying hardware that that is built around a completely different OS and something doesn't work, that's not the OS's fault. That is the user's expectations' fault. Now, should stuff work? Yes, it should. Does it always? No, it does not. Rejig your expectations of support. If you want the phone number to call, go buy a System 76. Go buy a Dell, Verizon, Station X. There's a ton of them now. If you want that experience, if you want the end user support, that is the way to go. If you don't mind investing time or money, depending on how you want your support. Some people do actually support Linux, believe it or not. Some computer shops actually do support Linux. Then you're fine. It all depends on you. What's the experience you're looking for? Again, that seems to be a lot more of a you problem than an OS problem. The exFAT one, I will give you. The phone thing, that's Android.
Dude, I gotta go to Google and look up freaking different solutions to problems, and then hope I can find it soon. Okay? Gotta cross my fingers because it's not certain with Linux. This pisses me off. Now I gotta figure out how to. And that, it's not like, okay, installing Windows itself is complicated. It is complicated. That in itself is going to take me another hour to do. But now I got to spend my freaking time trying to figure out how to get over this hurdle here. And it upsets me. Okay? Why isn't it registering the USB sticks? Can anybody tell me in the comments below? Why is Whoa USB now betraying me? Why? I remember, I think, when I first got on Linux, I was trying to do that, like try to switch over to a different operating system, a different, not operating system, but a different Linux distro. And I was shocked how hard it is to burn a simple ISO to a memory stick on Linux. It is hard, actually. And I remember it was so...
It's fucking hard. Maybe with the program you're using. Literally, download Etcher. I'm telling you. It shows you 3 steps. You select your ISO. It generically knows your USBs for you. So it selects that automatically. Then you click flash. And you wait until it's done going all the way through. Etcher is probably hands down the best ISO burning tool on Linux or any OS, to be for that matter, because you can get it on Windows and Mac OS as well. So again, I think that's more of a personal preference problem than a Linux problem, but that's just my take.
Easy on Windows, but for some reason on Linux doing that is not easy. It's like you got to find some odd application that actually works, that can actually do it. And I was even willing to pay money, but I couldn't find anything. This is the only thing I found. Now I got to look for something else. And oh my God, I hope it's not going to take me another 4 to 5 hours to find another application and get over this problem. Oh my goodness, man. I'm not having a good time today with Linux. Not having a good time. And I don't have time for this. I really don't. I have so many things to do. I don't have time for this. I got to take all my writings and I'm looking for work too. I got to take everything, my resumes, my writings, everything, put it in the external hard drive, which luckily works with this. I'm extremely lucky about that. Then I got to figure out how to get Windows back on this thing. And then I don't know. I don't like Windows either. Trust me, I don't like Windows either. It's like the worst of 2 evils. Which one do you go to, I don't like either of them at this point. I really don't like Linux or Windows. I would love a Mac. I'm going to sell this computer eventually and just get a Mac, because I don't want to deal with any of these problems. It sucks. Anyway.
Use the best tool for the job for you. I am going to say, yet again, most of these problems, some are external factors and not so much the OS. Some are patent issues. Again, that can be debated whether or not it's the OS or the patent issues. Take your pick, depending on what side you fall on. And some of these are just user error. or user being the problem. 30 seconds, USB ISO burning. First result will probably be Etcher. And it works across everything. Mac, Windows, and Linux. So there's that problem solved. Install the exFAT tools. You can probably get your SD card to work if it's over 32 gigs. As far as other stuff, the phone, that's an Android thing. Go to developer tools, tap your build number like 7 times or whatever, 7, 8, 9 times. It'll say you are developer. Enable USB debugging. When you plug it into your phone to the computer, slide down the Android status bar. You'll see the little USB debugging tool. Click the very thing that's underneath it, and it'll ask how you want to deal with it. Because by default, it goes to Android only charging only through USB. Again, that's an Android issue. So these are all simple problems. Some of them, you have one valid complaint about the exFAT stuff. And as far as the extra programs, again, that's a you thing. Just because it works doesn't mean it's okay. One problem solved, 30 seconds. A lot of these could be solved by, just, hey, these are some problems. Hey, what are some options? And I'm not talking just in Linux land. That is in any operating system. The problem is you've just learned to accept the issues in Windows, and you know what to expect from Windows. Linux, you come expecting none of these no problems whatsoever, and then when you run into them, you're like, oh, this is terrible. And that's just a dumb fucking way to look at things. Linux is going to have its own set of problems and hurdles that you have to overcome. It's just different from what you're used to. As far as getting a Mac, well, if that's what you want, go the fuck ahead. Who am I to stop you? I personally think that is a drastic fucking choice and a dumb one. But hey, you want a walled garden? More power to you.
That concludes my video, my rant. Frustrating. I'm just trying to give you an example of the bad days. I've had more good days than bad days with Linux. I've been using this for about a year, and I haven't had any problems that I can think of. But now, today, oh yeah, this is the day. This is problem day. And I'm being let down by the community. I'm going on Google. I cannot find any, I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know. I have no idea why this is happening, but whatever. I'm just going to try to get back on Windows 10 and try to rough it out with that. And maybe one day I'll get a Mac if I can afford it, and just say goodbye to both of these things, because it's frustrating. I'm just trying to show you what could happen if you get Linux. All right. Okay. Bye.
Oh, me, oh my. The things I have to say or I could rant about. But, he's not off. Linux does have its off days, just like every other operating system, for good or bad. The simple fact of the matter, though, is what he's talking about is, well, quite frankly, some user error, some external, and a lot of external factors. It's not just the OS that's the problem. Again, Etcher. So I really don't have a big rant or rave. Like, I've seen so much dumb lately with certain other videos that, like, this is like mild in comparison. This is just someone taking their gripes and not quite willing to see what's there. That's a user thing, and hey, whatever. But he's just showing their experience with it, and more props to that. I don't mind people showing their experiences, because we all have different computing experiences and different problems that crop up regardless of the OS, and that's fine. There's no real dumb knowledge being spread, so I have no reason to really rant or rave. So that's just kind of my quick take. Like, Etcher, it would be the recommendation instead of whoa USB. I don't know where the hell that came from, but I'd use Etcher, install the exFAT tools, and the phone thing. Go to developer options, enable USB debugging. Once you plug it in, hit the very last thing on the drop down screen. That'll tell you how you Android to deal with when you plug into a computer. That's an Android thing. So again, this is a combination, a user problem, and external factors. One of them you can view as internal factors, depends on how you look at patent issues. So I ain't got no real big rants or raves, guys. Sorry. So this is my take. What do you guys think? Should I have been ranting, raving, swearing a whole lot more? Well, let me know. You guys know what to do. Rate it, subscribe. Peace out.